July the 8th. And as usual, so let's start with our prayer for today. Let's elevate our thoughts and focus on our Lord Jesus, all the high spirits, and all the beloved ones who surely are here with us today, like every day in our lives. Our source in the spiritual realm, we celebrate your presence with us here and now. Let us be guided by unconditional love and be of service for the highest good. We thank you for the abundance we receive every day, and please forgive our mistakes as we forgive those who cause us difficulties. Help us to fulfill our purpose, uphold our values, and be understanding and compassionate. We ask for your guide. We ask for your protection for our lives and the life of our family members and friends. Set your way before us, Jesus. Make we make a difference in this world for your glory and purpose. With all our love. Amen.
Amen.
And so be it. So, okay, so we did talk about this. That will be a discussion coming soon about the book, The Messengers. Leda, by the way, I'm preparing the material that I will have to share. So I will send to you and Luis and Maria so you guys can take a look and perhaps add anything, right?
Okay.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Okay, so this morning I was watching this document. Before we start reading the book, I was watching this documentary about leading women in marine science, and then I wanted to watch this one because I really like this lady here. Her name is Sylvia Early, and she is an oceanographer. She is American. She's very well known because I don't know, right now she's in the 80s, but since her early 20s, I want to say, she has been very active, trying to call attention to marine life, marine science, and call attention to awareness of the threats that overfishing and pollution is posing to our oceans, posing to marine life. So but then today in this documentary, she said something about she was talking about the oceans, and she was talking about we barely know anything about the ocean world, the ocean ecosystem, and only now that we have lots of scientists dedicated, lots of instruments measuring and scientific methodologies to actually put a study together in a systematic way. So she said something about the importance of exploring before exploiting. And she was saying, as we know better the oceans, we care more, we understand more, and then we face it with a great respect. So, and then I thought, wow, that's cool, because that's exactly how we are in regards to the spiritual realm. at the beginning, we are so amazed at all the phenomena, all the things that the spirits can do, all the nice things that they can do just to tell us that they are there, they are alive, and spiritual realm is a reality. But before we take a look and before we have this attitude of being just curious, of being just, exploiting that reality, so why not studying it? Why not, understanding that reality better, right? So, like Sylvia was saying, our attitude in regards to the oceans or the marine life, we just take it. We make the use of it without a minimum or reasonable understanding of what exactly that being is, what is the importance of that life to the whole humanity, the importance of that ecosystem. So yeah, so same will apply to the spiritual realm and things associated with that. So exploring before exploiting, studying it, first is understanding the spiritual realm first before judging or measuring using these imperfect or precarious rules that we have that can only work in the physical dimension. So as we know better, we care more, and we face with great respect and gratitude for the spiritual realm, actually the real life, right? So just some foods for thoughts. I thought it was very neat. So last time we were talking about law of liberty, and the topic was free will, question A49. What is the dominant faculties of savages? Is it instinct or free will? And the answer, instinct, which does not prevent them from acting with absolute freedom in certain things. However, like children, they use their freedom for the satisfaction of their wants and only evolve through the development of their intelligence. Consequently, as you are more enlightened than a savage, you are more responsible than a savage if you do wrong. So with that, we go to the A50. And I guess this is the last question on free will. Is social standing sometimes an obstacle to complete freedom of action? Any comment? Or is social standing sometimes an obstacle to complete freedom of action? Yes, Lynn, please.
It's well known, I mean, in the literature, free will is an axiom in the universe, of the universe we live in. And also, as I've said before, reincarnation is the teaching tool for the soul spirituality. Now, you have to have free will because ultimately you need a barometer. You're measured by your actions and thoughts while you're in life and in incarnation. And how are they going to know truly your heart, your soul, your spirituality level, barometer advancement, if you don't have free will? They got to have some sort of gauge on what the heart is of this soul, and their actions and their thoughts. And the only way to do that is give them free will, and then you get a good idea what you're dealing with regarding that advancement, that level of advancement, or the darkness of a particular soul.
Yep. Yeah. I agree. As a matter of fact, this morning I was rereading the book, The Messengers, again, as we are going to talk about it. And the book was, I was in this chapter, they were saying that because of the free will and because of the fact that reincarnation, it is in fact, perhaps the best school for us. We may not realize, but we are in this path for a long, long time. And despite of, I don't know how many reincarnations, 30, 40, 50s, we are still trying, or we are still performing like an experiment. We are not yet performing as we know our full potential. We are still trying and struggling, right? So, but yeah, it is, so far it is the best school that we have. So yeah, we better make the most of it. Maria, please.
I want to share with you an experience that we have in our mediumistic meetings.
Mhm.
When we are trying to help a spirit that is in a bad situation,
Mhm.
and they are trying to do something bad to another one, incarnate or disincarnate, né?
Mhm.
And many times when we tell him that the time is not to be free will, but it's time to how I can say in English, Ana? Não
To
é
face
tempo,
the consequences, right?
é tempo de colheita e não mais de livre-arbítrio. How can I say it in English?
Oh, it is no more time for free will, but it is time to harvest
Yes.
whatever, the consequence, like, yeah.
Consequences when he has a free will in the past, but now they don't have more free will.
I
They
see.
have
To face the consequences, yeah, like
yes, it's a very important argument, because many times in our lives, inclusive, we think that we have a free will, but we stay.
At some point we'll have to, yeah, at some point
Yes.
we'll have to face whatever, yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. So
There's always some free will in deciding how you act, how you take things that come to you. So sometimes you have to bear the consequences of so much, but you still can choose every day when you wake up. You can choose to be happy, or to pray, or to try to reach God's will and to try to be better, or to be rebellious and angry and sad and desperate. That's a choice that we always have, right?
yeah, yeah. As a matter of fact, Leda, I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say for the discussion about the messenger, but there was a very nice chapter talking about the rebellious spirits. They living in the lower zones, and as they don't want to face the reality, they don't want to change their state of mind, they just hold on to this lower frequency thoughts, and with this fixed idea of just doing a revenge or something like this. And what happened to them is what happens to them is it's interesting. I didn't know that was possible, but as they hold on to this idea of, you know, lower vibration thoughts and, you know, doing just bad stuff, they can actually change the density of the energy around them, around their peer spirit. So they become denser and denser, if that is possible. I didn't know that that was possible, but it is. So it's very, very interesting. Now, in regards to free will, when enough is enough, that is a question, right? So when exactly we'll have someone to stop us and say, okay, you're done. Will that happen? I guess, like we have our parents, like, right? So whenever we're just doing silly stuff, and as a children, then we have our parents taking care of us and say, okay, no, stop doing silly stuff. But as a spirit, when that, you know, that opportunity will come, perhaps the mentor, perhaps someone, you know, helping us in our evolution will say, okay, that's enough for you. You're done, right? Because like Maria was saying, at some point we'll have to face the consequences, right? We cannot just continue doing those silly stuff forever. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Len, go ahead.
I just think we all have problems with the challenges, whether it be compassion, gratitude, forgiveness, love. But I think a big problem sometimes with people in general, they don't allow love into their heart. And this is an issue. You have to always, the safe path is always turn to love. Love will always be the answer, the higher vibration frequencies, whatever you want to, how you want to term it. But a lot of people, for whatever reasons, bitterness, anger, which ultimately is like a cancer, will eat the person up. They don't open their heart to love.
Mhm.
And that is always the answer, always.
Yeah.
That's why we go through all these incarnations. That's the reason for it, to basically to have a much higher spirituality, which is all the many different forms of love, compassion, forgiveness, gratitude, etc. And on it goes, which is, there's so much volumes of literature on this. But it's you'd be surprised how so many have such bitterness and anger, and you have to walk away from it. Yes, I you know, my own experience, when my wife went to the other side, she transitioned, it'll be 5 years. Did I have anger? Yes. Did I have bitterness? Yes. Why us? Why me? Okay. But then as you evolve, there's reasons for everything in the spirit world. They say there's no coincidences. There's reasons for everything. And then you have to allow love into your heart, and you have to use it to grow spiritually. If you don't, it's just going to be very negative effects on you.
Yeah, yeah. And as you allow the love, then you become more able to see the bigger picture, right? Because yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like, if I may ask, just mention today, I have usually regularly gatherings. Now, gatherings are spiritually, many from the other side in the higher realms, we get together. And for the first time, really, I mean, you always feel the love. The love vibrates through your heart and soul. It's so powerful, it's overwhelming on the other side, the spirit world, the universe that we live in. But for the first time, I think, in all the gatherings I've had through the years, I actually had a missing them. And they always tell me, this is your true home. Missing actually the feelings of deep feeling of missing them to go home. Am I making sense?
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Not only just missing the love and feeling the love, but actually missing them.
Yeah.
That's how close we are, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Lynn. So, so question, is social standing sometimes an obstacle to complete freedom of action? And the answer, the world definitely has its demands. God is fair and takes everything into account, but will hold you responsible for any lack of effort on your part to overcome such obstacles. So if I think about an example in our lives, like not too long ago, but we still had slavery as a common practice, right? And at some point, some people started thinking, okay, wait a minute, this doesn't seem right. And so evidently it was not so easy to change that mentality, but little by little, one by one, then over today, we know how wrong that is, but it took some effort for the ones being the pioneers, right? So I guess that's what they're talking about when they say lack of effort on your part to overcome such obstacles. At some point, we just think, okay, so I am just one in billions, right? We are what, 8 billions, the entire world population, and then you think, okay, I am just one, but regardless, do your part, right? All right, so that's the last one on free will, and the next one is fatalism. Does fatalism control the events of life in a sense commonly attached to this world? Is every event in our lives predestined to, and if so, what becomes of free will? What do we think? We just go to someone reading cards and someone will tell us our destiny? What, Giles?
There's a perfectly good explanation for this misunderstanding about free will and predestination.
Mm-hmm.
The predestination part of it is the plan we make for our incarnation before we appear to do our incarnation. And so we can call that predestination if we like, but it's just a nonsense ascribing these plans to other people instead of us personally. We personally decide what challenges we shall meet and believe we can overcome or meet. No, not necessarily to overcome them. It's how we meet them that matters. So I just wanted to mention that. That's I believe, a misunderstanding provided by linguistics and religionists.
Yeah, I like what you said. I mean, I also think the same way. As a matter of fact, just talking about what Lynn just mentioned about missing them. In one of those days I was meditating and I had the same feeling of missing the folks. So at some point I felt like I had to ask them apologies because I clearly had the impression that I fell behind, I was probably the last one in the group, I was just here because of my stubbornness or something. So I felt like, okay, it is my time to say, please, accept my apologies. And at some point they showed me this number of people that I had to meet. And then that's what Giles and when Giles mentioned, okay, there is a plan, and yeah, I recorded that. Okay, so okay, I have these people that I have to meet and probably make some amendments or something, but yeah, there is a plan, and let's follow, let's do it, and stop complaining, stop just, feeling miserable, and do your job, and everything is gonna be fine. I love when Giles said, it's gonna be a happy end anyway, so we just be patient. Yeah.
Hi, Anna.
Yes,
Hi, it's Alessandra. How are you?
good. How are you?
I'm sorry I started late, the meeting,
No
and
problem.
I'm happy to be with you. Louise invited me to be here,
Mhm.
and I was hearing you talking about this question and about Giles. It's how it's pronounced. Giles.
Giles?
Giles. Yes.
Yes.
We're saying, and it's interesting. I'd like to say something. I think fatalism, it's one thing that we should be careful about, because like Emmanuel used to say, you have to bloom whenever and whatever God puts you.
Yeah.
And you have the good and the wrong inside you. And you know exactly what it's good and what it's right and what it's wrong. And even if you don't know why you are doing this, you know what you are doing.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know why, you do know what you are doing. And that's a choice.
Yeah.
And when you choose to do this or that, even knowing if it's right or wrong, because everybody knows who it's right and what it's wrong, everybody.
Yeah.
And there is some things that you don't know at the street, if you don't do at the street, because you do know that it's wrong. So you just do it at home.
At home.
Or when everybody's not seeing you, or you think that anybody is going to see you doing something like that. And I think when I don't think fatalism it's a God things, because God doesn't violate you and your free will. God respects your time, and he respects that everybody has your time to born inside, to open your eyes, to listen what he has to say to you. And it's writing everywhere. But he didn't, and he didn't force you to believe him, or force you to do whatever he wants you to do. Even Jesus, for example, you have Jesus' example all the time. You can read all the things that he did, and it's all there.
Yeah.
And I think we have before we're born, we have our programmation. We choose what to do. I want to be her husband, her wife, or his husband. I want to have these kids because once upon a time I did harm to somebody, and I want to, whatever. You choose that programmation. And when we got here, it's so difficult. It's difficult to keep that choice, because it's harm ourselves, our pride, our proud, we are so, we have too much proud inside to accept that we are wrong.
Yeah.
And then we keep choosing our programmation. But whenever and wherever and you choose to be good, be the right person to the person that needs you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you cannot be bad. You cannot do anything wrong if you think about that. Being here in Brazil, being in the United States, whenever you want to be.
Just bloom whatever. Yeah.
Let's bloom wherever you are.
Yeah. That's funny because I used the exact same words to a friend this week, just bloom it, whatever you are, just bloom it.
That's what Emmanuel used to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also they're not asking us to be perfect, but be the best you can with your
Every day.
imperfection. Yeah, just be the best you can.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maria, please.
The term fatality and or fate, according to the spirits, can only be understood as a component of the law of freedom.
Mhm.
That is, when we adopt a certain attitude, we determine a consequence, which will be good or bad,
Mhm.
according to the content of the act. With each new existence, we experience new challenges inexorably until we reach relative perfection. As taught by different religions, fatality or destiny is a plan created by God that cannot be changed by human beings. Spiritism, in turn, does not admit that there is an absolute predestination and defend that God's endowed man with free will, the power of to make his own decisions.
Mhm.
Our consideration is that the sense of remodeling, remodelar, how can I say it in English? Remodeling the concepts of destiny, removing its deterministic contents for a broad and transcendental vision, more in the line with the educational and reflecting aspects of a reincarnatory process.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right?
Yeah, that goes very much along with what Giles was mentioning, you know, is a major plan. There is a planning before we come over. And that structure for the reincarnation is not predestination, but as we go against or as we do not follow, then we fail. So, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's very important to know that God don't want we have pain, dor, sofrimento, how I can say.
Pain. Yeah.
He wants to do for us a new opportunity every day. God do to us new opportunities.
Yep.
They don't want pain. They don't want sacrifice for us.
Mm-hmm.
They want that we learn how to do the things well.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Maria. Very, very well. Thank you. Len, please.
Well, there's in alignment what Giles was saying about predestination. There is an awful lot of literature, whether it be Michael Newton, whether it be Brian Weiss, Sylvia Brown, our books, etc., that clearly show life charts. Before you come into an incarnation, you meet with your council of elders. Originally, I had 7 council of elders. Now I'm down to 3, okay, because this is my last incarnation. All right. You have your spirit guides, council of elders, originators. There's a whole bunch of entities you get together with and say, okay, in this life incarnation, you're going to go into realistic objectives to promote your spirituality. And it's called a life chart. Sometimes they call it a soul chart, but pretty much it's a life chart. There's a lot of literature on this. And basically, the key word is realistic. The objectives to what you want to do to advance your spirituality of all the many forms of love, compassion, gratitude, forgiveness, etc. in this incarnation. So that's in alignment with what Giles was saying, obviously, about predestiny. So it is all planned out as determined by a life chart. And the only ones on the other side in the universe that can change your life chart as you go through are just some very, very high entities. Other than that, that's it.
Yeah.
But that's in alignment with pretty much what Giles
Yeah.
was saying about predestination.
Yeah. Now we are talking about people that actually, or spirits that actually have the condition to have such a plan done, because there are some rebellious spirits that they just insist on doing, bad stuff. They just insist in holding, bad energy or bad thoughts, if you will. And as such, then someone will choose for him what's going to be, because they have no means to participate in that plan, like Len was saying. Yeah, thank you, Len.
Sure.
Leda, please.
There's something that the spirits say. Emmanuel, the guide of Chico Xavier, he says in the Consoler that the more evolved we are, the more free will we have. So the animals and the savages, the spirits that are not so evolved, they are more guided by determinism, by fatalism, like the question is saying. So as we understand the consequences of our actions, as we understand our choices, we need to have more responsibility, because the more we understand them, the more we are going to face the consequences of our actions. And so the higher spirits, they have, it's the opposite of Giles' joke, right? In the higher realms, they have a lot of free will, because they know what they're doing. They know exactly how they change someone's life with just, imagine a spirit like Jesus. When he came here, he changed the whole earth. He changed the thoughts, he changed the whole way that we live on earth. So some spirits like this, they are not allowed to come so much to the earth, because we don't deserve their presence here sometimes. Because when they come, they give us so much. They give us a lot, right? They change the way a city, a country, they live, how they live. But there is one other thing, that in our stage of evolution, we have both free will and determinism at the same time. And Giles is correct. When we make a plan to reincarnate on Earth, we have all the major things that we need to go through, that we need to undergo, to do. But still, we come here, and sometimes we can change this. It's not absolute. It's not unchangeable, because when in the books, there are many examples about this. In the Messengers, the one that you're reading, right? There is the story of Octavio, right?
Yeah.
And he had a plan, a perfectly good plan to come here
for his
and do many good things and receive the spirits who helped him. And he came here and he did all the
opposite. Yes.
Right. And then he will have to face the consequences of his choices, right? And there is the opposite too, because sometimes we came with a program of like losing a hand, because we have hurt so many people in the past. But we choose to do good and to change and to use the hand to help a lot of people. And we start being much better than we were. And then God's mercy lets us just lose one finger instead of losing the whole hand because of all the good that we've done. So we can lighten our determinations as well. If we do good, if we act, that's what I was insisting on, the idea that every day we choose, we have the choice of trying to do the best that we can, trying to be the best person that we can, even if we are on a bed, sick, we can try to have the best feelings and the best thoughts, and trying to help whoever is around us.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, it's easy for us, like when Lynn was saying, you know, when we know what is ahead of us and what we've done, when we are aware of our past, it's easy to understand the plan, and we happily accept the challenges, right? So we say, yes, I can do it. This time I'm not going to fail. But then as soon as we are born, like Alessandra was saying, you know, we forget everything, and we get so distracted with all the things here on earth that, yeah, we run the risk of failure big time. And what you said about the hand just recalled a cousin of mine. My aunt, she didn't know she was pregnant, and she took thalidomide. I do not know how to say in English, but anyway.
Thalidomide, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
And-
thalidomide.
Thalidomide, exactly.
Yeah.
So as a consequence, my cousin, she was born with she doesn't have her right hand. So her parents did try hard to work and get a hand, you know, like a mechanic hand. And they were saying, well, when you are 15-year-old, we would do this, and that. And one day she said, you know what you're doing? You know, I don't want this, because I do not need things that God didn't give me. If that God didn't give me, is for a reason. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay with what I have. So I thought, wow, that's, and she was 15-year-old. But how many people are so disturbed because I don't like my nose, I don't like my, I don't know, whatever, you know? Yeah. So Leda, you were the last one. Would you please read the answer for us?
Okay, so fatalism only exists based on the choice each spirit makes to undergo a trial. By choosing that trial, you create a sort of destiny for yourself. It's the natural consequence of the situation in which you have chosen to place yourself. This is only with respect to physical trials, because in moral trials and temptations, a spirit always maintains a freedom of choice between good and iniquity, and it is always able to yield or resist. Good spirits may come to your aid when they see you falter, but cannot influence you to extent of controlling your will. On the other hand, bad or inferior spirits may trouble or alarm you by exaggerating your physical danger. However, the will of your incarnate spirit maintains its full freedom of choice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very much aligned with what Lynn was saying, you know. Yeah. This is more in respect to the physical trials, because yeah, we can always choose to do completely different and screw up with the whole reincarnation with the opportunity. Lynn, please.
Just a quick point. There's a lot of help for us on the other side. We just have to ask.
Yes.
We just have to ask. A lot of people don't ask. I mean, there's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of help for us on the other side. That's
Oh,
all.
not, yeah, that's very good point, Lynn, because in the Messenger, the book that we are going to talk about next, one of the spiritual guides is saying, you know, most of the people do not know how to ask, you know, and even more do not know how to set, how to you know, to get that help. And I think it has a lot to do with pride, maybe.
Maybe also kind of like misunderstandings. They're not sure the approach they should take in meditation, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always asking. I'm not shy with that. I have no problem. No problem. I says, I need help. I'm always asking.
Yeah.
And they do respond. One thing about spirit on the other side, they will always have your back. That's very important.
It's true.
They will
That's
always have your back. I never have to, and they're always with me. They never leave me. And you never have to doubt, will they be there for me? They always have your back and they'll always be there for you. Very,
Yeah.
very important. And people have to develop that confidence and understanding. They got me. They always have my back. So important.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, you know, what I asked them, I'm very good on asking for somebody. I'm terrible whenever it comes to ask for myself. But what I ask them for myself is to understand their signs, because sometimes we are so stupid. Sometimes they are right here, and we just do not understand because we want to understand the way we want things, and sometimes, right, is not the way we want, but the way that needs to be, or the right way.
It could be
Right.
staring you in the face, very obvious,
Yeah.
and you don't see
Yes.
it, right? For a
Yes.
while, you don't say, "Oh, I got it now. I got it."
Yeah, I got
You
it.
know, yeah, right. It could be staring you the obvious in your face, and you don't see it. Sure.
Yeah. Thank you. So, A52, some individuals seem to be pursued by fatalism that is completely independent of their actions. Is it their destiny to be unfortunate? What do we think? Some individuals seem to be pursued by fatalism that is completely independent of their actions. Is that so? Completely independent of their actions. Go ahead, Giles.
That's exactly the same question, put in slightly different words. Predestination is a matter of vocabulary, and it is a matter of each spirit's choice for their life plan. It has got nothing to do with higher powers. Well, other than the fact that the higher powers can be sitting around to help you decide what you can do, and to not let you open your mouth so wide that you have challenges that will crush you, which clearly is a realistic possibility, as we know. From people who go ahead and make challenges that they can't meet anyway, because one size does not fit all.
Exactly.
But all stories have happy endings, so you just have to wait long enough.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's sometimes we do create challenges we do not need, or we don't have to face, but again we are just, you know, getting distracted.
No, wait a minute. I said that challenges which are too much for us, that is, challenges we are unable to meet or deal with in any way. That's different than with what you said. We are planning our challenges, and sometimes we have veto capability. We can override the wisdom of our judges, because of our, guides and assistants, not judges. No, I misspoke there. So when we are planning our life, we believe we can meet all the challenges, and sometimes we open our mouth too wide, so to speak.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Thank you. Maria, please.
I understand that the concept of karma needs to pass by a new vision. reality and destiny too. There is here in the spirit movement a culture of suffering that was created by a wrong interpretation of the law of cause and effect. That everything bad that happens to us nowadays is because we deserved it. It's because in a past life, we did something bad that we have to go through now as a punishment. But karma, for me, is not punishment, is a new opportunity to learn how to act differently, deconstructing conditionings, beliefs of behaviors that are not in accordance with God's law. I think that our life is guided by Matthew's verse that says, but if you knew what it means, I want mercy and not sacrifice, you would understood what to do in our lives.
Yeah, so yeah, I agree. Yes, several people they have this culture of fatalism, or whatever happens to you, if something bad is happening to you, is a punishment. It is a I remember in the past in Brazil, it was a very common belief that, you know, whatever you're facing now, just resign, because you are dealing with this fact, you know, I know it's bad, but you have done something bad in the past and now you're just paying for it. Not really. Not really. So sometimes it does require a broader or deeper evaluation, and sometimes is what we are facing now is based on our choices now, and sometimes it doesn't have anything to do with what we've done in the past, right? So that's something for us to consider as well. I agree with Maria. It's not a matter of always fatalism, always karma, because we are making choices now. We are making choices every day. And sometimes those decisions, they are not, you know, they are not as for the best interest. I don't know, but yeah, we'll suffer the consequences. Thank you, Maria. Anybody else? All right, so the answer that, so question, some individuals seem to be pursued by fatalism that is completely independent of their actions. Is it their destiny to be unfortunate? I agree with Giles. This is Kardec doing the same question, but in a different way, just to double check if the answer is consistent. So the answer is, there may be trials that those individuals are forced to endure because they have chosen them, but you often attribute to destiny what is more often than not the consequence of your own faults. In the midst of the adversities that afflict, you try to keep a pure and clear conscience, and you will be given solace for your suffering. So, and then it has a comment from Kardec that says, the true or false idea that we adopt of the things around us causes us to succeed or fail in our undertakings, depending on our character and social standing. It seems easier and less humiliating to our self-esteem to attribute our failures to fate or destiny than our own mistakes. Like Maria was saying, While spirits may sometimes influence our success, we can always free ourselves from this influence by resisting the ideas they suggest if they are misleading or bad. Like Len was saying, we always have the spirits, they always have our back, as long as we have a good connection to the higher realms, but sometimes we have good connections with the lower realms, and yeah, we'll suffer the influence as well, right? Okay, so, and then we have the A53. Some people escape one danger only to fall prey to another, as if it were impossible for them to escape death. Is this not fatalism? So Kardec is trying and trying and trying. Yes, Giles.
Sure, there's some answers there. The according to what I've read in automatic writing, it says that in a life plan that the spirit makes, you pick one or more exit points. And so choose, you can leave that life at that time, one or more exit points. Obviously, there is one exit point at the end of the life, but there can be one. That's what I've read anyway.
Yeah, thank you, Joyce. Maria, please.
In the Kardec's book, The Gospel According to Spiritism, we find a chapter that talks about the current cause of afflictions. And this word is that of two kinds are the vicissitudes of life, or if they prefer, emanate from two quite different sources, with is matters to distinguish. Some have their cause in the present life, others out of this life. Going back to the origin of terrestrial evils, we recognize it will be known that many are natural consequences of the character and the conduct of those who support them. How many men fall through their own fault? How many are victims of their improvidence, their pride, and their ambition? Then I think that we need to think about the cause, the current cause of our afflictions.
Yeah.
Many things here in present life that have nothing with the past lives.
Yeah.
But came to us troubles and pain, and we think that is because we did something wrong in the past, but it's not. It's not a good feeling.
Yeah. Thank you, Maria. Thank you. Len, I agree with you. Yeah. Len, please.
Just a quick comment to what Giles was saying. And there's a lot of information on this. In every incarnation, we have multiple exit points. And depending on the various circumstances, what exit point is taken. That's all.
Yeah.
But there are multiple exit points in every incarnation.
Yeah. I'm trying to recall the title of a book that I read, but there are so many books talking about this, but I'm trying to pick one. And I want to say Nosso Lar, Astral City from André Luiz is one of them. When they say that, oh yeah, I recall that because when André Luiz died and he passed, and then he found himself in this lower zone, and then they were calling him a suicide, right? It was a suicidal. But and then I said, what do they mean? You know, I died out of natural causes, and then finally he got this explanation saying that his choices, not eating right, and not managing a healthy life, holding a healthy life. So that attitude actually shortened his life, right? So that's why he was called suicidal. Now, we all have, like Len and Giles were saying, we all have this incarnation plan. And to do all of that, then we are giving a certain energy load, if you will. And as time goes by, that is like a battery, right? So then as time goes by, then we'll use that reservoir, energy reservoir, if you will. And at some point, there is no more energy. That's our time to go. But like Lan was saying, depending on our choices, we may be using a lot of this energy way too much, or and depending on the connections that we have. Like I know of some stories from Chico Xavier's life. We all know that his body, he was not really a strong guy. He was very tiny. He suffered from malnutrition when he was a young kid. And so he had so many healthy issues in his life. But because of his connections with the higher realms, and because so many people did pray for him, every once in a while, that energy reservoir was replenished, if you will, or sometimes he was having extra energy, so he could carry on with his mission, with his job. So yeah, we have a limited amount of energy, so we can do what we need to do in our reincarnation. But depending on our choices, then we might be making a bad use of that energy and just wasting it, right? So the question is then, some people escape one danger only to fall prey to another, as if it were impossible for them to escape death. Is this not fatalism? So the answer, nothing is predestined in the truest sense of the word, except the time of death. Yeah, there is one way to exit. When that time has come, whether in one form or another, you cannot escape from it. So there is certain. Then the letter A, the question letter A, then regardless of whatever danger threatens us, we will not die if our time has not come. So the answer, no, you will not die. There are thousands of examples of this, but when your hour has come, nothing can save you. God knows how you will live your present life, and this is often also known by your spirit, because it is revealed when you choose an existence. Yeah, any comment? So yeah, we know when our time has come. So we are supposed to know, as we know our incarnation plan. That's interesting. So 854, given the inevitability of our time of death, the precautions we take to avoid it useless? Any comment before we go to the answer?
Because if we don't avoid protection, we'll be suicidal, right?
Yeah, I
That
guess
would
so.
make
That's
us suicidal. So
Yeah.
we should avoid, it's a law, the law of conservation, the law of self-protection. If we
Yeah.
don't do that, we are suicidal.
yeah, I agree.
I would like to correct your use of the word suicidal. People who do the wrong things and don't take any exercise are not suicidal, beatless, and drinker and various other people who drive too fast and so on. They're not suicidal. They're just being silly.
But for the
but-
spirits, Giles, they are, because André Luiz was considered a suicidal spirit, and he didn't commit suicide in the classical way.
It
Well,
might, yeah,
exactly.
it might
That's
be,
exactly what I'm saying.
yeah. And it might be that we probably need a better word, but for sure we shorten our lifetime. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So guys, 4:10 here in Houston. I guess I'll call for the day. But it has been a pleasure to meet you all, and I hope to see you all next Saturday then.
And it's a pleasure to see you again, Ana Castro. And you are looking about 1 year older than your oldest child.
And
And yes, it's a
wish.
I have to
mystery.
say, it's predestined in my life chart now to drink some vino russo.
Yes.
Oh, then you're
Vino
clearly,
russo with
you're
cheese and
clearly
crackers and
suicidal. Then
olives.
you're clearly suicidal.
It's in my life chart, predestined. It's predestined. I have to have
You
some
guys
vino
are
russo now.
silly.
Good, Italia vino russo.
Cheers.
Anybody like the Chianti? Anybody like Chianti? It's in
Yeah.
my life chart right now. I have to go.
Ciao.
Ciao then. See you guys. See you
All
next
right.
Ciao.
Love to all.
week.